Michael Shikha Niketan Higher Secondary Government Sponsored Co-ed English Medium School has taken an excellent initiative of teaching and make our students learn day-to-day lessons through audio and video in our YouTube channel. Teachers of all the subjects are working hard to enhance these online classes in the midst of this pandemic situation. It is a request to all the teachers, students and guardians to click the bell icon and subscribe our channel.
I am going to start with the chapter of production, which is chapter 4 of your economics book. Now first of all, you need to learn that what is the theory of production. So basically a theory of production states that a functional relationship between the input and output is basically known as the theory of production. Now we are going to learn what is known as production function. Now a production function basically shows the maximum quantity of a commodity that can be produced per unit of time with the given amount of inputs when the best production technique available is being used. Now this is known as the production function. Now what is the quantity of output produced? The quantity of output produced is basically dependent on the input used in the production process plus per unit of time. The per unit of time may be a day, month, year, it could be anything per unit of time with the best production technique used. Now the output produced is basically dependent on the best production technique or whichever the production technique is being followed during the production process. Now this is the algebraic equation of the production function, that is Qx is equal to function of F1, F2 up to Fn. This is the algebraic equation of the production function. Here Qx is the quantity of output of commodity X. Commodity X, so what is the quantity of output of commodity X? It has been represented by Qx. Now F1, F2 up to Fn, these are the quantities of different inputs which are used in the production process, that is which are being used in the which are used to produce the commodity X. Now if we consider only two types of inputs, suppose labor and capital. Labor is denoted by L and capital is denoted by K. Now in order to make this thing simple, we are considering only two inputs, that is labor and capital. So now we can write the production function as Qx is equal to function of L and K. So this is known as the production function. Now there are certain facts which you need to learn about the production function, that is the facts of production. So the first fact is given that production function is always expressed to a particular time period. Production function is always expressed to a particular time period, and the particular time period may be a day, a week, a month or a year. It could be any type of time period. Next is a physical relation between inputs and outputs. There is always a physical relation between inputs and outputs. That is, the quantity of output which is being produced is always dependent on the quantity of input used in the production process. Next is production function describes a technological relation. That is, a production function always shows the best possible technology used in the production process. The best possible technology which is being used in the production process always describes the production function. Next, there are two time periods which are always used during the production. First of all, we will learn about short run, next is long run. So these are basically two types of time periods which are mainly used to denote the production. So first is short run. Now what is short run? Short run refers to a short time period during which the fixed factors of production cannot be changed. Only the variable factors can be changed. Now what are fixed factors? The fixed factors are plants and equipments. And what are variable factors? The variable factors are labor and raw materials. Now in the short run, only the variable factors can be changed and the fixed factors of production cannot be changed. Next is long run. In the long run refers to a long time period, and in the long time period both the fixed factors as well as the variable factors can be changed. Basic concepts which are used during the production process. So the first concept is total product. Now what is total product? Total product refers to the total amount of a commodity that is being produced by combining some fixed factors as well as some variable factors in a per unit of time, and the per unit of time may be 1 week or 1 day or 1 year. It could be any type of time period. So, total product is the total amount of commodity which is being produced by combining both the fixed factors as well as the variable factors, and it has been represented by TP. It has been represented here, you can consider it as TP. The total product is being represented as TP. Stop. Now, the second concept is average product. Average product has been represented by APL. So, here average product refers to the per unit of the per unit output produced by the variable factor, and here the variable factor has been considered as L, which is labor. Labor has been considered as the variable factor. So, what is the per unit of output that is being produced by the variable factor is mainly known as the average product. So, we will get the average product by dividing this total product, that is TPL divided by L, that is total product produced by the amount of labor divided by the quantity of labor, that is the total product of labor TPL divided by quantity of labor. In this way, we will get the average product. Next is marginal product. So, the next concept is marginal product. It has been represented by MPL. So, marginal product refers to the change in total product by one additional unit of the variable factor, and here the variable factor has been considered as labor, L. So, it has been denoted by delta TPL divided by delta L. So, delta TPL means change in the total product and delta L means change in labor. So, due to the change in labor, the amount of total product is also changing, and that is being denoted as marginal product. I think it is clear to you. Now, here one table has been provided in order to explain the concept of total product, average product and marginal product in a very clear way. So, here number of workers has been given. You can see that the number of workers are increasing, and here the amount of total product has been given, and from there we have to derive the average product and marginal product. Now, I will show how to derive them. So, first you can see that when the number of workers is 0, there is no total product, and if there is no total product, there will be no average product and no marginal product. So, when the number of worker is 100 units of total product is being produced, and the average product is 100 because 100 divided by 1, that is quantity of labor, we are getting 100, and the marginal product will also be 100 because there is because before there was no total product, so there will be no change. So, the marginal product will be 100 only. Next is when the number of worker is increasing from 1 to 2, the total product is also increasing from 100 to 220 units. So, now we have to derive what is the average product. Now, 220 divided by this 2, we are getting 110 as our average product. Now, 120 is our marginal product, and how we are getting this 120, that I will show. Here you can see that the marginal product basically refers change in total product divided by change in labor. So, here the change in total product is 220 minus this 100 divided by change in labor, that is 2 minus 1. In this way, we are getting 120 as our marginal product. I think it is clear to you. Next, the number of worker is increasing from 2 to 3, and the total product is also increasing from 220 to 360. So, here the average product is 360 divided by 3, that is 120. So, 120 is our average product. Next is we have to derive the marginal product. How we will derive? 360 minus 220, 360 minus 220 divided by 3 minus 2, that is 3 minus 2. So, in this way we are getting 140 as our marginal product. I think up to this it is clear to you. In this way we are deriving our average product as well as our marginal product. I think the concept of total product, average product and marginal product is very much clear to you. Here in this diagram I will show you the relationship between total product, average product and marginal product. So here the diagrams are given. In this in the lower panel of the diagram, average product and marginal product has been drawn, and in the upper panel of the diagram total product has been drawn. So first of all I will show you the relation between average product and the marginal product. Here you can see the relation between average product and marginal product has been given. So first of all it is given that when marginal product MP is greater than average product AP, that time AP is rising. So here you can see that when the marginal product, this is the marginal product, this is the marginal product, when marginal product is greater than the average product, you can see that average product is, the marginal product curve is lying above the average product curve. So here marginal product is greater than the average product. So in this case the marginal product is greater than the average product curve. So in this case you can see that the average curve, that is AP curve, is rising. So when MP is greater than AP, at that time we can say that the AP is rising, that is the average product curve is positively sloped, it is upward sloping. Next is when MP is equal to AP, that time AP is constant. Here you can see that at this point MP, that is marginal product, is equal to average product. Here you can see that marginal product is intersecting the average product curve. Here at this point the average product is maximum. Here AP is also constant, you can say the average product is constant. Here marginal product and the average product are intersecting. So in this case the average product is constant. Next, in the third case, marginal product is less than the average product. Here average product is falling. Here you can see that the MP curve is lying below the AP curve, that is marginal product curve is lying below the average product curve. Here you can say that the average product is falling. The average product is downward sloping, that is the average product curve is falling. Next I will show you the relation between the total product as well as total product and the marginal product. So here you can see the total product curve has been drawn over here. So the first point is given that when TP increases at an increasing rate, MP increases. So here you can see that the total product is increasing at an increasing rate and the marginal product curve is also increasing. In this point the TP is increasing at an increasing rate and the marginal product curve is also increasing, the MP curve is also increasing. So here you can see that at this point is known as up to this, the point that total product increases, and this point is known as point of inflection. Point of inflection means a such type of point, means a type of point where there is no maximum, no minimum. This point cannot be considered as maximum point, neither it can be considered as minimum point. So it is known as point of inflection. So up to this point the total product is increasing at an increasing rate and the marginal product is also increasing. Next, when TP increases at a diminishing rate, marginal product declines. So here you can see that the TP is increasing at a diminishing rate. After this point of inflection, the total product is increasing but at a diminishing rate. And you can also see that after this point the marginal product is also dropping down, that is the marginal product is also falling. So when total product is increasing at a diminishing rate, the marginal product is also falling. Next is when total product reaches its maximum, marginal product becomes 0. So here you can see that the total product is reaching its maximum point. So at this point you can see that the marginal product is 0. That is the marginal product is just touching this x-axis. And at this x-axis the marginal product is becoming 0. So when total product is reaching its maximum point, marginal product is becoming 0. Next, when total product declines, MP becomes negative. Here you can see that after reaching the maximum point, the total product is declining. Here the marginal product, you can see that the marginal after this after reaching this maximum point, the total product is declining, and after this 0 point, the marginal product has gone beyond this x-axis, that is it has become negative. So when total product is declining, the marginal product is becoming negative. So this shows the relationship between the average product, marginal product and the total product. I think the concept of these three is clear to you.
Thanks for watching. Leave a like and comment. Subscribe. And do share the video among your friends.